How do you build a team and do good work when everything goes wrong? So last year I started hiring for a new project, and I got together 6 entrepreneurs and filmmakers where the idea was that they would all come here to Lisbon and do some epic work together. And as you can imagine, that didn't work out great. This COVID crisis pretty much wrecked the plans we had. And in the end, only 2 of the 6 could make it here before Europe went on lockdown. One of them you've already met in previous videos, Ollie.
Yo.
And the other, Jonas, has been behind the camera. And now this problem faced us with an important question. Do we just abandon this project, or maybe postpone it indefinitely and maybe pick it up at some point in the future? Well, we decided not to do that. Instead, we wanted to start working with this team anyway, even if it's remotely instead of in person. And we wanted to see what we can actually learn from rising to the challenge of things being very different from how we planned them. Now, one of the difficulties of working remotely is communication, especially when the team is spread out over many different time zones. Doing online calls can be very time consuming and kind of awkward because it's always a bad time for someone, and you have to deal with things like, poor call quality and dropped connections and things like that. On the other hand, if you rely only on written communication, you're also missing out on a lot of nuance, and you're missing out on a lot of the more personal relationship building and team building that you would get on a live call. Well, we've actually found a solution that basically gives us the best of both worlds, where we don't have to schedule awkward calls, but also we still get most of the benefits of personal face-to-face communication. And here are 2 of the guys on the team, Dean from South Africa and Ryan from Canada, to show you how we do it.
Hi everybody, Dean here from South Africa. This is actually a Loom video you're watching right now, pre-recorded yesterday. To kick off this video, I'm going to hand over to Ryan in Canada.
Hey everyone, my name is Ryan and I'm an entrepreneur from Toronto, Canada. As Shane mentioned, in today's video we're going to be talking about Loom, which is a communication and screen sharing tool. Now, I just discovered this when the team introduced me to it, and it has allowed us to become so much more efficient and productive as a team, and we're going to explain to you the ways that we use it and some really cool, interesting ways that you could use it that you may not have thought of before. So quickly, for those of you who don't know what Loom is, it essentially allows you to record screenshot videos on your computer, so you can show your camera only, your screen only, or both at the same time by simply toggling between them like this. Now, it has other great features as well, like mark and highlight areas of your screen as you go, and then once you're finished, Loom will immediately produce a link for you that you can share with whoever you need to on your team. So I could tell you how Loom works, but what better way than to show you? So say there was a piece of software that I wanted to explain to my new friend Dean on the team. With Loom, what I can do is I can record myself as I use and explain the software at the same time to communicate to Dean how to use it. Then once I'm done, I get a link that I send to Dean that he can watch whenever he needs to. Shh. Now, Dean is sleeping right now because it's nighttime in South Africa. But the beauty of Loom is that now that I'm done with this, I can send it to him and get back to the actual important work that I have to do. So, sorry, Dean.
That's all right, Ryan. Good morning. I see you sent me a Loom video. Now, this is really convenient for me because I don't need to schedule a meeting with you or wait for you to be available to talk to me. I can watch your video as often as I need to, and then give feedback in the comments section below. The team that Shane put together has 6 members scattered all over the world. It's 7 a.m. right here in South Africa now, and I can get my day started. And when the others get this Loom video, they can get started. While we're on the topic of how this team uses it, we've got 4 examples that we want to share with you. The first is sharing ideas, brainstorming concepts. I find that when we have an open team meeting or a brainstorming session on Skype, often the ideas can kind of get carried away in the dialogue, in the conversation, and these meetings go on for much longer than they need to. It's a natural thing to happen. It's in fact something that you want to happen. You want that open dialogue. And it really works well when you're sitting in the same room. But when we're on online platforms in a chat room situation, it doesn't always feel the same and it doesn't work the same. We all know this feeling.
All right. So,
Yeah.
sorry, do you want to?
If you went, no, Dean.
Sorry, no.
It's
Can we?
the first time.
I think they want to. Wait, hold on. Well, there's lag. So I think maybe.
Second left. Tim, did you want to say something?
Okay, Tim, you go.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
Take it.
I think we can't hear you.
Bit of a time waste. We found that when you just jot down a few points and then record a short video, say 2 minutes, explaining your idea in an uninterrupted flow, it comes across better. Then, as well, everybody gets to hear it the way it should be heard. And on top of that, everybody gets to comment on it specifically without the conversation going off in another direction and never concluding on that point. So as a team, we can look at 6 different ideas and treat them as 6 different ideas. In a meeting, this can go on as a 20-minute discussion where only one idea might shake out of it at the end. But on Loom, you can just compartmentalize these ideas, pick the one that you like the most, and put the others in a folder for later use. Nothing's getting lost.
Loom also works great for sharing long form thoughts or kind of like a brain dump kind of thing. So a couple weeks ago, Shane had a point that he wanted to share with the group. It was kind of a more long form thought that he had on thinking long term as an entrepreneur. So rather than write up a long wordy email or take the time to make a video or send a boring voice note, he just made a Loom video. That allowed him to quickly get the thoughts off his mind and share them with all of us in the group at the same time. Now, from our perspective, this is great because not only can we watch the video whenever we need to, we kind of get that face-to-face feel of the communication, but also we can watch and re-watch that video if we want to see it at a later time or another day. Hello, remote team. So, I am making this video to go over the Notion page I created for the Focus and Action course.
We've also found Loom to be really useful when it comes to giving somebody quick instructions. In a remote team, often there'll be a lot of distributed and loose tasks. If I need to fire off a task to one of my teammates, I can just quickly record a specific task and use the highlight tool like this to point out, click here, do this, do that. I must admit, I'm a pretty big fan of this highlight tool. One more thing that I'd like to add, because I use this when I make instructional videos, is add a call to action. Loom has this option where you can build it into the video. So as soon as somebody's finished watching my Loom video, it pops up with a question that I filled in, like, can you finish this project by tomorrow? Or can you please give me feedback? It keeps the team dynamic, alive and moving and constantly striving towards its goals. Back to you, Ryan.
Last week we had to give feedback to a member of the team on a presentation that they gave us on a book that they read. So rather than us all getting on one conference call and kind of grilling the guy at once, what we did instead was we used Loom to create a video. That way we could take more time informing our thoughts to give to the person, and we could also use a visual aid. So let me show you how that worked. So what I did is I used a slide from a PowerPoint presentation where I listed the main points. So as I went through the video talking about the feedback that I gave him, I could also highlight those points step by step and show them on the screen. So not only did it make it easier for me to provide some insightful, communicative feedback, but also it allowed me to add that visual element to it.
Now, using Loom like this has been super effective for us. It doesn't replace meetings entirely and doesn't replace written communication entirely, but it's just another way to communicate, and it makes our meetings better because we can do meeting stuff in our meetings, and it makes our written communication better because we're not sitting there typing long paragraphs trying to explain something that you could just explain in a 2-minute video. So if you do any kind of remote work And even if you do work with a local team, I highly recommend you try this out. Also, if you want to learn more about how to be highly productive while working by yourself at home, I have a productivity course that teaches my entire personal productivity system called Focus and Action. So if you're not familiar with that yet, go check it out. I link to it below. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let us know what you think. And if you have any questions about this or any suggestions for making remote work better, go ahead and leave a comment below.